Hello everybody. Today we have a juicy topic. It's a good one. Today we're going to be talking about respectful parenting, gentle parenting. There's a lot of names for it. But today we're going to chat a little bit about what it is, why I practice it. Honestly, this topic is huge. So if any questions arise throughout this video for you and you would like to share them with me in the comments below, I think we're definitely going to need to do more videos on this topic, and it's just so good. It's such an in-depth one, and I think you'll find a lot of things can arise and a lot of questions and like micro topics under this umbrella are worth talking about. So today I'm just going to give you like a little bit of a breakdown, but then I'm also going to answer, I'm just picking two. I'm going to answer two really good questions I got on Instagram when I asked you guys if you had anything you wanted me to chat about. So we're going to chat about what it is exactly, why somebody would want to practice it, why we chose to practice it. Somebody asked a really good question about parenting after having a traumatic childhood. That is me. If you look back in previous sip and shares, in the playlist, if you just click playlists on my channel, you'll probably find, if you do some digging, I shared it a couple years ago, but I shared my whole story of like how I grew up in foster care and was adopted and was abused. Like, I came from a really traumatic childhood, and it's a really great question, and I want to dive into that. And there are just moments that are just so perfect synchronicities. Somebody asked a question about bedtimes with an older child, and it was something that I was actually struggling with not too long ago, and so I'm going to address that too. So there's lots of things in this video. Again, I could talk about this for hours. There's definitely going to have to be more. I just want to give you a quick roundup of what we're going to chat about, so buckle in, grab a snack, grab a cozy drink if you like, and let's chat about respectful parenting. If this is your first video with me, I feel like I should just introduce myself real quick and say hello. Hi, my name is Rainbow. I have two children. They are ages 11 and almost 8. We are trying for our third baby. I've been on YouTube for many years and I've always been in this like gentle, respectful, attached parenting. There's been so many names, but I've always strived to practice this style of parenting. Now that I am older, slightly wiser, I feel like I have more to say on this topic. I feel like my understanding has changed. But I chat once a week. We started my sip and share videos again, which is just where usually I sip something. Today it's water. And I share more in-depth things on various topics, so we could just chat a little more authentically with each other. I also just share cozy motherhood things, normal life. I'm kind of an old school heart where I make my own bread, I garden, I like to grow food, I like to do things old school ways. I homeschool my kids, but I'm also not your average stereotypical person who might do those things. So anyway, we do a lot of things over here, and that's just a very brief description of me. I'm so bad at telling people about myself. I never know what to say. Most of you already know who I am, so let's just get started. I did actually jot down some notes. Usually I like take screenshots of things that inspire me for this conversation, and so that's what I did. If you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my iPad. So respectful parenting, this is kind of like the new name for it, because we all know attachment parenting, gentle parenting, peaceful parenting. It's all the same thing though. I think sometimes attachment parenting or gentle parenting can get a bad rap. I think that's why we've moved to respectful parenting, because really at the root, that's what it is. A lot of people have assumptions that this style of parenting is very permissive, when in fact, to save time, I'm sorry if I'm a little blunt with anything, but I try and word things as kindly as I can, but I'm not going to over explain myself in this video, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, a lot of people assume that this style of parenting is very permissive, very like, oh, you just let your kids rule the roost, they get to walk all over you, when in fact it is like the opposite of lazy parenting. Sometimes it's called lazy parenting because your kids just get to do whatever. It's actually, I think it's the most hands-on parenting style that you can do, because it is completely about working on yourself and actively working to be a better, just more conscious parent. It's holding firm but kind boundaries. It's modeling behavior that you want your children to. It's so much easier to just be like, you can't do that because I said so, go to your room, blah, blah, blah. It's so easy to do that. It is so much harder to explain, to talk. I'm doing this because this. I don't want you saying that thing or talking that way because, and explaining and laying it out. And it's different, you know, we all see gentle parenting more as like a toddler thing a lot of the time. Hands are not for hitting, but that's not what it all is. It's much more in depth. And I think that's why this term respectful parenting has kind of just come out of the ground and blossomed, and more people are attracted to it, because if you grew up or have been raising your children in more of authoritative, disciplinary way, these conversations can be really hard, because a lot of the times there's guilt that comes along with it when you're told like, hey, this might not be the best way to do it. That can have some defensive feelings arise. And so I think respectful parenting is just a more approachable term. So I've been saying something since my babies were little, and that is that my kids teach me more than I'm ever going to teach them. And I really use that as one of like the foundational stones of my parenting, because parenting is not about educating children. It's not. It's about growing and developing ourselves as adults in a healthy way so we can respectfully, lovingly raise human beings. That's what we're doing here. We're not teaching, we don't know all the answers. Any parent who's like, I know everything, I know exactly, no, right? We're not like that. We all know that we don't have all the answers. We all figure it out, you know, sometime in our 20s, where it's like, wow, adults know nothing. What the heck was I even thinking when I was young, thinking I'll grow up and I'll know everything like the other adults? We don't know anything. But respectful parenting is really just about growing ourselves so that we can raise respectful, kind humans. And to do that, you have to be a respectful, kind human yourself, which is not always easy. Respectful parenting is about not feeling like you have ownership over another human being, your child. I always like to phrase this as more of like a roommate situation. Maybe that's not the best, or like a friendship. If you wouldn't do something in your other relationships, if you wouldn't speak that way to your husband, if you wouldn't speak that way to your best friend, if you wouldn't speak that way to your mom, anybody in your life, why on earth would you speak that way to a child? So that's just like an example of, to kind of give, if you're really new to this topic of parenting, it's treating your child like a human and like you would treat somebody else that you respected and admired. Because children deserve that at the very base. That's a very basic right that they have, is to be treated with respect and kindness. Which means acknowledging and respecting our child's point of view, which is really difficult when you weren't raised that way. I was not raised this way at all. Most parents practicing respectful parenting are doing so because they were not raised that way, and they want to do something different. They want to break bad cycles. They want to raise children in a more emotionally stable way. So that's a very basic explanation of respectful parenting. You can feel free, there's so much literature, there's so many books, there's so many articles, blog entries, everything on Google that you can go more in depth in that topic if you want to, if you're really new to this topic. But at the heart of it, that's what respectful parenting is. It's treating your child with the respect and dignity that they deserve as a human being. It's not constantly looming over your child and giving them their own authority over their body, while still being a parent, while still maintaining boundaries, while still understanding that your job as a parent is to help grow them into the full-grown adults they're going to be. So this might be a little bit of a different approach than you've heard before. Maybe you're super into this leaning of respectful parenting, so maybe this isn't new news. But I think there's a huge misconception in respectful and gentle parenting within respectful and gentle parents themselves. I think there's this idea that in order to be a respectful, gentle, connected parent, you need to be calm all the time. And that's just not the case. A lot of times parents are like, I'm not calm all the time. Or I get asked this a lot. I get asked this a ton throughout the years. This is something that I'm always having to address. How do you stay so calm? How are you such a calm parent? And the answer is just, I'm not. Nobody is all calm all the time, and that is not the goal. Calm is not the goal of respectful parenting. Calm is not the goal of gentle parenting. And I think for some of us who grown up, who have like been raising our children this way for years, it is very easy to think that you must be calm all the time to be good at gentle parenting, to be good at respectful parenting, and it's just not the case. Because our kids don't need us to be calm, they need us to be authentic. Because trying to stay calm so that your kids are calm, so your environment is calm, it's just unrealistic. It's not going to happen all the time. It is not real life. Parents can't always be calm, and thinking that you need to be calm to be a respectful, connected, conscious parent, it will trap you into perfectionism. From there, you can develop leanings, tendencies to be perfect. You can trap yourself into this like hamster wheel of perfectionist parenting, and it's not going to get you any momentum forward. You're just going to go around and around. If this is an entirely new idea for you, that you don't have to be calm, you just need to be authentic, what does that mean? It might take some time to really like mull this over and think about it, and that's amazing. Do that. It doesn't mean tonight you need to finish watching this video and okay, I need to be authentic instead of calm, and you need like take some time to digest this. If this is the first time you're hearing about this, even if you were already respectful parenting, but you really did think that you had to be calm all the time, like take your time to read more about it, to digest it, and slowly incorporate it so you don't get overwhelmed. Because I know for myself, I definitely put myself in this hamster wheel of I need to be calm, I need to be peaceful all the time, and when I wasn't, when I would lose my shit, or I would be mean or shout or something, I would be like, oh, I failed. I've completely failed. And it just sets you back every single time. There's a different way. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to feel like you're failing constantly every time you mess up, because we're only human. We're going to mess up. How we can be authentic with our children is feeling safe in our emotions. I know that sounds weird, but how many of us don't feel safe in our emotions? How many of us were not raised to feel safe in our emotions? Anger is bad. Crying is bad, right? A lot of us, the majority of us, were raised in this way. Hide your feelings. Don't lash out. Don't feel that. Happy or calm only. So a lot of us grow up not feeling safe in our emotions. And this is what I talked about a little bit earlier. It takes so much self-work to be a respectful parent. So what our kids really need from us is to be able to sit with our emotions, with the waves of our emotions, and stay grounded despite us feeling emotional. Our children need to see us process our emotions. They need to see us model that. They don't need to see us be a calm, stoic being all the time. They need to see, okay, how does this work in the real world, right? Mommy's driving and somebody cuts her off. How is she going to deal with this situation? And how can I deal with that situation? How can I deal with a situation that frustrates me, that angers me? Is mom just not going to ever show anger? Because that's not practical. How we deal with our emotions and how we process them helps our children process and regulate theirs. And it doesn't mean we don't feel them. It doesn't mean we don't have emotions. It just means we process them in a healthy way and are able to model that to our children so that we can create a respectful environment. We are going to have emotional waves even through a day. Our emotions fluctuate. We are only human, and we can only ever be human. So how you deal with the emotional waves will do far more than being calm ever will. Which means like parenting comes with so many emotions. Parenting is an emotional roller coaster. So it's important to embrace, understand, acknowledge, and accept the world we live in, our parenting world, as an emotional one before we're just like, I'm gonna be calm. Just gonna be calm. So it's important to think about, do you process your emotions before you just decide to be calm? Because otherwise we're just kind of slapping a band-aid over that emotion, a calm band-aid that will come off eventually, and sometimes it gets ripped off and it's not a pleasant experience. Because we feel peaceful, we feel calm when we feel safe to process emotions, right? There's no anxiety, there's no like staticky, like, I am unsafe, and it just makes everything worse. If you are in a safe environment, if you feel safe to express your emotions, you're not going to be made fun of, you're not going to be told to stop, you're not going to be told that crying's not allowed or that you're not allowed to be angry right now. You process your emotions much faster, right? We've all been in a situation where we feel like we cannot express how we're feeling, and then we go home and we cry, or we go home and we're just angry, or it sticks with us and we're just like fuming all day because of that one thing, because we weren't in a safe environment to express our feelings. We all have examples of that. However, we get to control our own home and our own bubble and our own parenting area, for lack of a better word. And when we feel safe expressing our emotions, you know what? You just spilled something I was working really hard on making, and I feel angry right now, and I just need to process that for a second, and I'm frustrated, and I just need a minute of space. I'm gonna go up to my room and sit on my bed and take some deep breaths because like I'm really frustrated right now. Or even like, do you know what? I am really frustrated by what just happened, and I need to step away because I need to feel my emotions first, and I don't want to say something that's going to be mean right now while I'm feeling this way. That is a perfectly great example of peaceful, gentle parenting, of respectful parenting. Peace will arise naturally if we feel safe expressing our emotions. In that situation where it's like, you could be like, you spilled this, like, what were you thinking, blah, and then we beat each other up. It's like, I'm really upset that this got spilled. I need a minute to think about this or to process this. I'm really frustrated right now. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself in parenting. I feel really sad that this happened. I'm really upset right now. I just feel like maybe I need to cry for a minute. Like, there's nothing wrong with just feeling our emotions. And when you're parenting and you allow yourself that space, you allow yourself that safety, one, your kids can watch you process it and they understand how they can process their own emotions. Two, we're not masking anything and saving it for later and then unfortunately making us more prone to explosive behavior. Three, we're teaching ourselves how to better process emotions because likely we were not taught how to do this. So it's not about showing up calm all the time. It's about showing up authentically. And that does mean authentically experiencing your emotions. And sometimes in front of your kids, with your kids, around your kids, it's okay. But you'll get over them a lot faster if you process them and you show up authentically and you acknowledge them than if you tuck them away, try and be calm on the outside and process them later. They're going to linger until you're ready to process them. Then you're just going to have that like budding emotion underneath everything you do. Kids are not stupid. Kids can feel that. Kids feed off our energy. That's not even like in a hippie way. That's like, we are not unintelligent beings. Children are not unintelligent. They can feel things. You can feel the energy when the energy is off, right? So just understanding that you need to be the one to process things in order to show up for your kids and teach them, model how to process that is a huge, huge foundation of respectful parenting. So just, if you take anything away from this video, just remember that our kids need us to be authentic, not calm. Our kids don't need us to be peaceful all the time. That's why I like the term respectful parenting. Because it's about respect. It's not about peace. It's not about calm, conscious, respectful parenting. Because if you are walking around suppressing your emotions, children have this beautifully intelligent way of expressing what is repressed, or suppressed, I should say. What we suppress, our children will express. I experience this constantly because I'm still working on expressing my emotions every time I feel it. And I've been doing this for a long time. I feel like I wasn't raised this way. So it will always be something I'm working on. But if I'm not calm, my kids are not stupid. If I'm suppressing an emotion, that they feel that. They know there's an edge. They're intelligent beings, and especially little ones who can't communicate as thoroughly as an older child. And even older children who have not been taught to communicate their feelings and what they notice, and it hasn't been safe for them to do that, they will behave according to the vibe, because children will attempt to regulate whatever is happening. If they feel something is off, they will try and set it right. Nobody likes that feeling of something is off. So children are very smart. They will try and set balance. You know, I talk about breath work. You know, that's been a huge revelation for me in the last few months, is learning how the nervous system is connected to everything we do. Learning how to regulate the nervous system to regulate my parenting, regulate my emotions. I talked about this in the last Sip and Share. But you have to understand that, like I talked about in my last video, how you as a parent can set the tone for your whole family. I've said this many times before in videos and on Instagram. Your nervous system, you have to almost see it as you are one as a family. Your nervous systems are synced up with your family members. And if something is off, it is felt. Your nervous systems are like in tune with one another. So you almost see it as one net, like one web, just like moving together, acting together. That's why if your child is having an off day, you have an off day, because you just feel set off. That's why if you are having an off day, your kid is set off. Your kid misbehaves more that day, right? Or they're like not in the best mood and it's just nothing is going right, because your nervous systems are linked. And when somebody is dysregulated, often children try and regulate it. A lot of times they don't know how, or we don't understand that's what they're trying to do. It can get messy. So even understanding that your child will try to express what you are trying to suppress will explain a lot of behavior. And when we understand the root cause of behaviors, you don't need to punish them, right? When we understand behaviors more, it eliminates the need for these like harsh punishments that do, oh, you're like, could you imagine you're talking to your husband about, you know, you had this bad day and you're just like, do you know what? That was unacceptable that you fingered that driver who cut you off because you were angry. You need to write a letter of apology and you need to sit in your room for the rest of the night with no dinner. What? One, it's completely ridiculous to think that your husband would speak to you like that and that would be tolerable. So why are we speaking to our kids like that and allowing that to be tolerable? Two, what did that punishment like have anything to do with what was actually going on, right? Why are we not giving our kids that same respect to process their emotions? When I do something, when I mess up, I don't want somebody to be like, rub my nose in it. Neither do you, right? Nobody does. Who does? Why are we doing that to our kids? Right? That's not fair. That's not kind. So it's really important that we're able to process emotions and allow our children space to process emotions, which is really hard to do if you don't do it yourself. I would say it's impossible to do if you don't know how to regulate your own emotions, if you don't regulate your own emotions. Even if you feel like you don't know how, but you're trying, that is immensely more helpful than just suppressing and expecting your problems to go away in your family dynamic, because you're all linked, all connected. Because I think the goal of respectful parenting, of being this calm parent, which doesn't exist, is actually to be regulated. And what does being regulated even mean? It doesn't mean not feeling things. It means feeling a feeling and being able to be grounded after. Using anger as an example a lot, because I think that's the one that everybody struggles with the most. A lot of people are shamed for their anger, and we grew up being shamed for our anger, so we don't often know how to deal with it. But it's not about not feeling angry. It's about feeling angry, but instead of lashing out, being able to ground down. I'm angry right now, process the emotion, and deal with it accordingly. When we are angry and we try to, no, anger is not allowed, must stay calm, it leaves us completely dysregulated. We're not acknowledging, we're not feeling, we're not processing. Trying to mask with feeling calm all the time is not respectful, gentle parenting. That's my bird whistling, sorry. That is perfectionism. And perfectionism stops you from being able to be a regulated human being. I hope that makes sense. So being calm all the time is not the goal. authentic expression of emotions is the goal. Instead of moving away from your feelings, I feel angry, I can't feel angry, angry is bad. Move towards the feeling. Sit with the feeling, explore the feeling, allow the feeling to just be there. And often it disappears a lot faster than if you were to suppress it. But sitting with our feelings allows for regulation. Again, when you're handling dysregulation, it's not bad. You can't go thinking that dysregulation is bad. If I'm dysregulated, oh, bad parent, bad respectful parent. Rip my badge off, throw it away. I can't be a respectful parent anymore. Kids watching us go from dysregulated to regulated is what helps them, what teaches them. We all know that children will not do as we say, they will do as we do. So we must do accordingly. You can't escape the emotions of life. You can't escape the fact that you're going to be angry, you're going to be sad, you're going to be happy, you're going to be confused, you're going to be frustrated. It's how you deal with those emotions, how you deal with those emotions in front of your children, but also just how you deal with your emotions with yourself, that it's going to keep your children more regulated. It's something that's very difficult to do if you're not used to it. Come on up. But it seems too easy, but it works. It works. Every single time it works. Does it mean that your kids are always going to be regulated? No, because they're also human. Just as you will not always be regulated, they won't be either, but you can help them by helping yourself. And it's important to understand that it's not about avoiding emotions. It's not about avoiding experiences that are negative. It's about processing them, going towards them, sitting with them so you can deal with them and deal with them quicker, so that you can learn and grow as a parent, so your child can learn and grow as a person. All right, so I've been talking for a long time. It's been too long. This, again, I said at the beginning of this video, this is such an intense topic. There's not intense, but there's so much to talk about. So I'm going to still answer those 2 questions that I wanted to answer, but I'm going to do that in part 2 of this video. So thank you for watching today. Make sure you tune in to part 2, and we'll discuss just parenting after a traumatic childhood, and then also this question that came up that I had to deal with about parenting at bedtime for older children. I think it's a great thing to chat about. So we're just going to break this video up in 2. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come and tune in for the next one. Let me know if you have more things that you want me to chat about down below in future videos, if we should keep, or if we should do some more videos about this parenting topic, respectful parenting. I know I can't, like, I compressed a lot of information in one video, and sometimes it's hard to digest, and we need to talk about things more deeply. So if there's something that was hard for you to digest, or you would like to see more on, then just pop down below and I will for sure write it down and we'll address it in a future video. So I'm gonna end it with, I would like to end it with like a parenting mantra. I'm all about mantras. Love them. I think they're important. Just reminders, help us keep focused. So I'm gonna leave you with one. My bird is being very loud because he wants me. This is actually a mantra that I am taking from The Reconnected. I highly suggest following them on Instagram. They talk about this stuff all the time. They're such a good compact source of these resources. In fact, I did take a couple of their slides as inspiration for things to talk about because I love doing that. I feel so connected to the Reconnected page, and for me, it's a great resource to just remind myself of things that I know, but things that are very easy to forget. And they also bring up things that like I need to sit with and I need to think about too. And I really love that. So that's The Reconnected on Instagram. But they shared a list of mantras for a reconnected parent, and I would like to share one with you that I think fits this video really well. And that is, I see them, I hear them, I acknowledge them. I see my child, I hear my child, I acknowledge my child. It's a good reminder. Just repeat to yourself when you're going in, even if you're going in, you're feeling frustrated, it's a great one. I see them, I see my child, I hear my child, I acknowledge my child. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one for part 2. Thanks for watching. Bye.